welcome to Gas It Out. So we've got another great guest lined up for you on the show today. Bit of different surroundings for those of you who are watching us on the YouTube or Facebook episode. If you are listening in, you'll have to paint a mental picture of me in a swimming pool and Neil is,
sat in a Ferrari.
Yeah, in a Ferrari, not in a Ford Fiesta.
Yeah.
What on earth? Where are you?
Basically, obviously, this is a last-minute call. I was on my way to the gym. You called. You're like, listen, we've got Herve in 10 minutes. Can you do it? I went, well, not really, but yes. So,
I was seriously hoping we'd have you like that.
doing bicep curls.
Sweating, like with a muscle shirt on. Oh, like a
Muscle
leotard, pumping iron. So you sat outside the gym, or you told me you were going to the pub?
No, I'm sat outside, Wetherspoons. Believe it or not, the gym's above it. So I was going to go into Wetherspoons when you decided to do this to buy a drink, not a beer, because I'm going to the gym, and use their Wi-Fi. It's 5
o'clock somewhere, Neil. It's 5 o'clock.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. I got out of the car and realised I don't have my wallet, which is so annoying.
You don't have your wallet?
No,
You've gone out of the house without your wallet?
I never do that. Literally never.
I couldn't. So, I panic. Like, what if something happened in my car?
No, I know. I'm panicking now. But basically, why I've not brought my wallet is because I've got my gym shorts on because it's 30 degrees here. So I put my gym clothes on ready. I'm ready to walk straight into the gym. I've got my protein shake. I've got everything's pink because it's all Vicks stuff, by the way. Sorry. I've got two pink water bottles. Yeah, so anyway.
Brilliant. Well, obviously, I know it's a bit of a rush job, but really quick word about what we've just seen at the weekend. What we're seeing in MotoGP at the moment, I don't know where to start.
I know.
Marquez is out, which is bonkers, opening doors, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, clearly he didn't break the titanium plate in his arm opening a door in his apartment. I can't believe they expect us to believe that. He just can't have. Come on.
Exactly. I mean, it must be something like a stress, the amount. But I still don't get how even lifting weights and that, you don't bend titanium, do you? You've had titanium plates, haven't you, before?
No, I've had screws in, but I know a lot of people who have, and I know people who've damaged them. And guess how they've damaged them? This is going to come as a real shock, right? You're not going to believe what I'm going to say. They've usually crashed a motorcycle, and that could be a motocross.
I didn't think you were.
Yeah, I know. That could be a motocross bike. It could be a dirt track bike, or it could even be a road race bike. That's normally. So far, in 46 years of being on this planet, I've never heard one person say they've managed to damage, displace, break, snap, twist a titanium plate by opening a door. I'm just not. So I'm not believing it.
And then, so he's not there. Stefan Bradl comes in. We don't expect anything from Stefan. There's no blame on Stefan's shoulders or anything like that. He hasn't ridden a bike in 6 months and he gets launched into it. So we don't expect anything. But it hasn't worked for that team. We're expecting Fabio Quartararo to maybe back it up, maybe get 3 wins. Well, he has an absolutely, not a great race, just a normal race. Absolutely what you might expect from a satellite Yamaha. His teammate gets on the podium. Brad Binder wins. We won't dwell too much on KTM, right? Because it's an amazing story. But we're going to speak to Herve Poncharal, who's team manager at Tech3. And I'm sure he'll have a lot more to say about that, to be honest. So what about what went on with Quartararo and Morbidelli then over the weekend? Like tables turned in a way.
Yeah, literally from the first practice session, Morbidelli was faster than Quartararo. He looked like he got a better rhythm.
But we have seen that in the past before, haven't we? Where he's had the rhythm.
Yeah, but I think this last weekend, it was more of a standout, But it was just a strange one because this is the bit I don't understand. It was the strangest race I've seen. The tyres weren't lasting. But we had consistent weather all weekend. So it was the same for everybody. Everybody had the same opportunity. It weren't like, well, it was a weird weekend. No one got dry laps in and somebody was maybe landed on a setting. So it was a level playing field. But then when the race started, Maverick Vinales finished 14th.
What?
Like one in front of Alex
It's a bit
Marquez.
like the Barcelona race. Was it a couple of years ago where they just dropped down the order, the Yamahas. Meanwhile, while he's doing that, Rossi's going the other way. And actually, his pace was probably, if he'd have actually got a better start and been up there, he'd have
been on the podium, probably.
He'd have had a shot at the podium with the pace. Alex Rins was fourth with one arm.
Yeah.
Which makes you think, how good's that Suzuki?
I know. Well, but Mir was nowhere.
But Mir then was nowhere, even though...
Mir had a pace all weekend. I think what we're seeing is MotoGP is closer than it's ever been. That's a fact.
Oh, did Mir get taken out? Did Mir get taken out, though? Was he had his front wheel taken by Lecuona?
Yes, but he was nowhere up to that point. He was 12th or 13th. But I think what we're seeing, because it's so close, Gav, that come a race, if you aren't feeling it, or you have chosen the wrong front tyre, or the setting's a bit off, you only need to be an extra, let's say, 0.3 off, per lap. But that'll drop you right down. All of a sudden, in the olden days, a couple of years ago, if you thought you got the pace to battle for the podium, that might put you back down to 7th. Now it puts you down to 14th, and you look terrible, don't you? So I think there's a bit of that going on.
And the big story for me at the moment is Ducati. I know there's all Marc Marquez, there's Fabio, there's KTM. Where the F are Ducati?
Ducati. I know, it's straight. It's like the new bike just didn't work at all in Brno. It wasn't bad in Herve. They went to Brno and they were literally
the thing was, in Herve, they got a podium in the first race with Dovi. They were lined up for another one with Bagnaia. They had Miller, should have been there or thereabouts as well, but dropped down the road. But Dovi came back in that second Herve race. And you're thinking, actually, this is his chance. You were saying this is his big chance. It didn't materialise. 18th on the grid. Worst qualifying. And you're thinking, okay, he'll turn it round. But it didn't happen.
No, he never had the pace, did he? And now I keep looking at that Ducati. They all should accept Zarco. But you look at the new Ducati with even more lumps or bumps on it. We've got this shape shifter device where the riders are dropping the bike, coming out of corners, having to press the buttons in the braking zones. I don't know if it's all getting a bit too much. I don't know. What we've to be careful is that we don't criticise Ducati's bike on one race weekend.
No, of course.
But it's normally a Ducati track. So what we will know in a few days' time is when we get to Austria, a track where Ducati have never been beaten. I mean, if there's struggle there, then I don't know what's going on. They've still not signed all the riders. It does seem that they're in a bit of a mess, to be honest.
It's a weird one, isn't it, with all the...
So, it's just a strange one.
Yeah, it's really, really bizarre. A quick word on, because we had World Superbike and British Superbike. I just want to have a quick word on them. Johnny Ray back to his best, wasn't he?
Johnny at Portugal, Portimao is sensational. And it's classic Johnny. Great starts. He gets to turn one and he's at full race mode, as in there's no building up to it, there's no settling in lap, and it just I don't know how many times I've said it. He's the best rider in that championship.
Yeah, true. Credit in a way though. Yamaha did well. I thought Van der Mark, even though he was taking off on most laps, down over that little rise, and Redding, the way he turned around a bad start to the weekend, actually in the second main race, did well, didn't he?
Yeah, he figured it out basically for Reading. Obviously, he tested there, but when you've not raced at a track, and it's a funny track there, it's a slippy track. So you could see throughout the weekend he was understanding it, and they were way off with the setting in the first race. I spoke to Chaz about it, 'cause he did the same. He improved a lot throughout the weekend. So they tweaked the electronics, not the setting. It was more like just the electronics. He said they've gone completely wrong. But he said the bike's so sensitive, that Ducati. If you get it just a bit wrong with the electronics, you're nowhere. Yeah. So
what about BSB? What did you make of that? That was lively, wasn't it?
Oh my God, I've missed BSB. My God, BSB.
The Irwin brothers.
Oh my God, I sit and watch. I'm now like the biggest fan of the Irwin brothers. And I mean, I know Glenn quite well. I don't know Andrew at all, and I've never even spoke to him. And obviously, I've watched him before, but I watched Andrew, and I'm like, he reminds me of Chris Walker. The way he rides really close to his opponents, the way...
What did you make of the disqualification then? Because obviously...
I thought it was ridiculous. He shouldn't have been disqualified.
He should have been.
Shouldn't have been.
No, that's what I was thinking, but people were saying it was obvious. And I thought, is it? I don't know, is it obvious?
Unfortunately for Andrew, they're not looking at that individual incident. And that's annoying because that's not fair. What they're doing is they're looking at his reputation. And yes, we know he's made a few mistakes and he's been over-aggressive and he's admitted that. But what I saw was a racing incident. It wasn't ideal. There was a bit of a gap. He's trying to go under him at the top of Hollywood. Brooks doesn't see him and they collide. And unfortunately, in that situation, it's usually the guy on the outside. Obviously, Brooks got his handlebar hooked. Down he went. But he can't he didn't deserve to be disqualified. And then there's another penalty as well. He's got to start from the back of the grid, hasn't it? The next race, I believe.
Like yeah.
It just seemed way too harsh. Way too harsh.
We made accumulation of points there saying, I don't know. I felt it was fairly similar. I know it's a completely different incident to the one we saw in MotoGP where Zarco was given a long lap penalty. Amazing, by the way, as we have talked about on the TV. Ultimately, stunning how he did the long lap penalty. But just thought it was harsh. Actually,
but like Andrew, that's what Andrew should have been given, something like that. Like I don't know if they have the long lap loop.
Yeah.
Did they have it in BSP?
Yeah,
all right. Well, even if they give him 2, but taking away all his points, I don't know. I know. In my opinion, he didn't deserve that at all. But bloody hell, it's entertaining to watch.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. It's and who knows who's going to win that championship now? Because that's thrown a whole other set of.
What about them
marbles into
Hondas?
the mix.
Stunning.
Yeah, that's
them
it.
Hondas. They accelerate. They stop well. I mean, it's so entertaining. Good old BSP never fails, does it?
Yeah, it doesn't at all. Right, we better get on to Herve Poncharal. Let's have a chat about Herve. In fact, we recorded something a little bit earlier when I first called Neil. You'll see. It's going to be interesting. I don't know who this might be. Could be Herve. It could be Neil Hodgson. And it's Neil Hodgson. I mean, that's wonderful, isn't it?
I'm in my car. I've got 4G actually, Gav. And get ready for this. I was going to go in Wetherspoons. And then I've not got my wallet. Because I'm going to the gym.
What a standard. Obviously, I've not got... Turn your phone onto the side. Have you worked in TV before?
It's harder on the side because now I've got to hold it where I could balance. I got to balance.
Okay. Nice. Well, put it up. If it's easier.
It's just so much easier and it'll be dead stable.
I mean, we're going to be on the whatchamacallit on a 3-wayer. So
So
it's quite funny. So we literally got a call about half an hour ago, saying so I've got a dog who's roaming around. You'll notice my different location as well.
But hey, showing off now because the lounge is looking nice, Gav.
I haven't finished it yet. As part of one of the jobs today. That you might be able to see actually, just over my right shoulder there. That's what I need to cover up. That's the new cast iron radiator that's not gone on. So that's actually a big bare patch on the wall. So I'm just gonna squeeze that there like that.
You can't see. It looks all right to me.
Can you? What's your fast been this morning? Because we just got a word about half an hour ago. Herve Poncharal's here, and he's already here. You be telling the story while I admit him.
Right. Basically, I had a works call with insurance, obviously with the good old Mackenzie Hodgson insurance, which is going really well, I have to say. I'm so proud of that, honestly. We are doing really, really well. So there's quite a lot involved with that. And then I was on my way to the gym. So I got to the gym, did my works call, and then you told me we're going to speak to the famous Herve Poncharal.
Monsieur Le Ponch.
The nicest guy in the paddock. That's what I say.
And you didn't even know he was on the phone call, did you, Neil? You didn't even know he was there yet. Bonjour, Hervé.
Bonjour, les amis. I'm very, very glad to finally talk to you and have a look what's behind me. A few hours ago.
Bad backdrop, is it?
No. I'm outside. And it's up and down the weather at the moment. A few hours ago, it was, I don't want to say it, but raining cats and dogs, as you say, heavily. And now we have a little bit of bright sunshine. So I'm going to do the chat with you on the terrace of the hotel.
Fingers crossed that it stays like that for the weekend, Hervé, as well, because obviously we're between the Czech and Austrian Grand Prix. So part of all this new regime, isn't it, Hervé, is that you can't go home in between them. Am I right with that? You've got to sort of stay in the team bubble. Is that correct?
Yes, we have a protocol which is very strict, and I think it needs to be strict. We are roughly a bit less than 2,000 people traveling from a place to another. Of course, going to hotel every night, having to eat every night, and the risk to meet somebody infected is quite high. So we need to stay focused. We need to stay serious because it could be meaning the end of the championship. So I think we have a protocol which is working so far, touch wood, quite well. But we need to stick to it. Every year for me this is a bit my summer vacation, because in between Czech and Austria we got a few days, and I drive either to Prague, to Graz, to
Bratislava.
Bratislava.
Yeah, we saw you
in Bratislava.
We saw you last
year.
I met you there last year, Salzburg, and this year we came straight through, and we are in the hotel. But I mean, we can't complain. We're happy to be back to be back racing. I think a lot of people would like to have our life. So we are seeing incredible racing. For sure, we miss you guys, the media. We miss the spectators, the fans. We miss the atmosphere in the paddock with the hospitalities. Now it's more mask running from the truck to the restaurant and back to the truck and to the box. But this is what it is, and thank God we can have great racing like the one we saw last week.
Yeah, it was unbelievable, and we miss it. But when you've got a show on like we've got last weekend, or even the first couple of weekends, it's absolutely incredible at the moment. Obviously, Hervé, you're a team manager, but you're also president of IRTA, so you get really involved in all the, organisation and how things get decided. How difficult has it been in both those roles to actually have racing this year?
You can imagine that it was very difficult to even think to have a championship without any spectators, because our business model, the way the whole thing is working is based on having spectators. This is also why the sponsors are investing in our championship, because they can see, the people around the track, they can bring their guests. Therefore, to have races with nobody on track, with no hospitalities, which means you can't have your sponsors coming, they can't bring their important guests, which is the main reason why they've been investing on you, and rely only on TV. It was something we didn't know if it was going to work, because at the end of the day, we're talking about, that's the Austrian.
Is that up at Zeltweg? Is that the? You've had I can't believe, Hervé. I know that you're an important man, but he's organised a fly pass for us. That is seriously impressive.
That's impressive.
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Hervé. We can hear you. Yeah, it is okay. We can too. You might be able to see us going like that. We can hear you, but.
Very sorry. It was a war. Aircraft that was practicing. I don't know what they're doing, but very sorry about that. No, I was telling you that it was a tough mission, to think how we can do. And for a few weeks, together with Dorna FIM, we've been scratching our head, and we were not sure we could have had a championship. Finally, everybody made effort, although there are fixed costs, that you can't reduce, because the traveling is the same, the spare parts are the same. But I think everybody made a big effort, especially Dorna, to make it happen. The only thing we are really praying is that 2021 could be a bit normal. I don't think it's going to be like 19, but it's going to be difficult to carry on with another year like the one we're living now.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the economical
No,
situation.
I can imagine. Well, everything you said means a lot less money coming in, doesn't it, Neil? And we've seen it. We're not at the races ourselves, are we? And that, that's.
And one more time, we miss you.
No, I'm not sure about
that. Sure.
We miss you, Hervé. What is the plan? Is the plan for next year for there to be 20 races or 21 races? That was sort of roughly previously planned. Is that still going to be the case?
You know, Neil, we've been asking this question last week when we had a meeting together with Dorna. I think the plan and the idea is still to go back to the 20 races calendar. But at the moment, who can predict, who can say what's going to be the situation in a month, 2 months, 3 months? And even more difficult to say what's going to be happening by March 2021. So the idea, the will of everybody is to go back to a 20 races calendar. But we need to wait and see what is going to be, you know, the world situation on a sanitary ground, but also on the economical ground also, because it's, you know, to have races, you need organizers who are ready to take the risk to organize a race. And we are also depending on the organizers to understand how the calendar could be. But yes, we are all very positive. Dorna is very positive. Dorna is fighting like you can't believe. And the plan is to stick to the 20 races calendar next year. So one more time, fingers crossed.
It's easy, isn't it, to be critical of Dorna at some points, and you know, because people are they remember racing back in the days when there wasn't so regimented and so on and so forth. I've worked with, you know, I've been involved there, and we all, I think, from BT, from our side and the TV, think a good job's been done. We've had some great shows, and actually racing's got going when many people didn't think. But I just wonder, in terms of being a team manager, how you've lived through the financial crisis after September the 11th, financial crisis after 2008, the lack of tobacco sponsorship that's affected you in some way. And somehow you and your team, or the whole of the paddock actually, seems to reinvent itself. But is this the toughest that you've known it?
You know, after each crisis, you know, we are trying to learn. And we always said in the MotoGP Championship that we have to monitorize very carefully the inflation. You know, we don't want to grow too fast, too much, without any reason. This is why our technical rule is quite strict. This is why I remember when Carmelo and IRTA were fighting for the single ECU against the manufacturers. That was a tough fight, but we managed to convince everybody. And finally, all these rules have helped us to have a great show, to have very high level technically, you know, our bikes are on a very high level, but without going too far in terms of investment by manufacturers. This is why, you know, Suzuki came back, KTM joined, Aprilia came back, and I think altogether, you know, the championship is showing that it is sustainable at the moment. You know, we are not costing that much. We froze the engine and aerodynamic spec for 2020 and 21, which is, I think, something very important and very good for manufacturers and, of course, team, because we are going to renegotiate with our manufacturer the lease fee, which is a very important part of our budget. And I think, as usual, you know, everybody makes an effort, you know, because this is a job for all of us. But before being a job, it's a passion. You know, and if you ask your guys, you know, to understand the situation and make an effort, riders, your crew, yourself, everybody is doing it. And this is how we can go through the tough time, you know, because for sure, if when everything is relatively easy on the financial side, you just take off and forget about the real life and the real world, you're not going to last long.
Yeah. And Hervé, I mean, you've been involved, obviously, in racing. You've been involved in the Grand Prix paddock since the 80s. Would you say that this is the best it's ever been? As in, obviously, not this year with COVID, but I mean, the rules, the racing. I mean, the gap from the fastest rider to the slowest rider is, you know, 1.5 seconds average. What's your take on it?
I am convinced that we are going through the best time of MotoGP and Grand Prix racing. For sure, I always say, you know, everything which is related to your 20th, your 30th is the best years of your life, because you are young, you don't have too much worry, you think life is forever, and everything seems easy. So I can understand the people who were 20 looking at Kevin, Mick, Eddie, Wayne, you know, fighting each other on the 500 two-stroke. That was the best era. But look, now we have 6 manufacturers. The 6 manufacturers are all capable to finish on the rostrum, because even Aprilia, you know, they show that on a good day, they can be on the rostrum. So we have incredibly close racing. We have a lot more safe circuit. The safety has improved a lot. You know very well, Neil, you've been a top rider, and you've been through and riding on some tough circuits. Here the war is coming back.
So
that's not good news.
Where the circuit is opposite an Austrian airbase, isn't it, Neil? Like Zeltweg, and you see it down. A lot of the riders fly in there, don't they, into that airstrip opposite? And you often get those fly past, don't we? All stand in the paddock waving at the guys who are going to do the show on a race day on Sunday.
They'll be practicing for that,
they are two now.
So we've got Hervé looking around. It's got a bit of his own air show.
Anyway, to come back on what Neil was saying, I think this is the best time, you know, because also, you know, we can work in a better way. The teams have more means to work well. We have priority has been put on security, safety for the riders. You know, we got the air fences. We didn't have that. We got circuits that are more and more safe. And all this is helping the rider to push more and to have a better show. And the fact that we were talking before about the relatively low investment that needs relatively to be, you know, done by a factory. We have now 6 manufacturers. And in the past, remember, it was Yamaha versus Honda with sometimes 2 Suzuki, you know, in the middle. And I think this is a big step forward. And I think for you guys, for media also, you can see that you got much more access to many more things. And you can do your job, I think, in a much more professional way, even though if you are talking to me in your car.
Yeah. he's always the professional, is that?
Hervé, what's the next step then? How can we make it even better? Is that possible? Because it seems fantastic at the moment.
You know, unfortunately, this crisis is hitting the whole world, and is also hitting MotoGP badly. We were hoping to have even more races. We were, you know, hoping to. We have a few ideas that at the moment are on hold. Right now, we are a lot on the brake pedal. We just want to keep the championship going. And before we see a next step, I think we need to wait for another, I would say, 2-3 years. The good news is, although the world economy is not going really well at the moment, it looks like all motorcycle makers are doing a great job. I don't know if it's the fact that you travel less by plane, or the fact that you want to be a little bit more on your own, because what's best that to ride your bike with a helmet. This is the best way to be, you know, having fun without too much close contact with anyone else. So the economy of our industry is quite good. The TV figures are really good. I don't know about in UK, but most of the figures I heard are really good at the moment. So you know, there are good signs, but I think we need to stay calm and at the moment to keep it as it is until we can move forward again.
Hey, the figures are particularly good in France at the moment, Hervé. I spoke to some of our colleagues at Canal Plus, and I will ask actually about what happened with the COVID test for them. But what a great time for French racing, with Johann Zarco doing a pole position the other day. Fabio Quartararo is such a breath of fresh air, isn't he? And I know you've known Fabio from when he was doing the Junior World Championship. You've always had one eye on him. What he's doing, I know he's not your team and everything, but I know you're proud, aren't you, of being French and having someone like him and Johann up there.
Yes, you know, I know Fabio's father, Etienne, for many, many years. You know, when I was working for Honda France, he was riding and I was landing in motorcycles. So we know each other much before Fabio was even born. So I've been following, you know, Etienne and his son. And, you know, when a father is talking to you about his son, you know, it's always the best son. He's always the fastest rider and he's going to win anything. So I was listening, but always with the filter that, okay, he's talking about his son, so let's see. But I was amazed by how quick he was growing. And when he started to enter the World Junior Championship, which we call the CEV, and starting winning there and winning twice in a row, it was a reality that this young guy, the son of my friend, was really fast. And yeah, we even did the Quartararo agreement. I don't know if you remember, to allow the winner of the World Junior Championship in Moto3 to access before 16 in the Moto3 World Championship. So yeah, that was a really exciting moment, because I have to say that in France, we don't have so many, top riders in MotoGP Championship like they're having in Spain or even in Italy. It was a bit of a deception, I would say. The first year, the second year in Moto3, even the switch to Moto2 was not, ideal. And we knew how fast this guy was. We knew that he was a real jewel, but we didn't really understand what was going on. And it was difficult because he was so pissed off. As a teenager, it's difficult to talk to them, and you never know what's the real reason at that time. And suddenly, I remember last year when I was talking to Razlan, when I said to Yamaha that I was leaving, and Razlan took the opportunity to replace us inside Yamaha as a satellite operation. And Frankie Morbidelli was the obvious choice because he had a 2 years contract with Yamaha and the team. But the rider number 2, you remember, it was question of maybe Lorenzo, maybe Pedrosa.
Yeah.
And they were hesitating within this name. And I was in Assen. I was in my office watching the Moto2 race with Razlan. Fabio just won the one before in Barcelona, his first ever Moto2 win. And we were watching the race, and I told him, "Look at this kid. Who is he?" I said, "I think he's doing well." And he was coming back, and he eventually finished second at that race. Anyway, to make it short, they were a bit lost, and following a lot of advices, they decided to bet on the youth. And I don't think they regret at all. What he's done last year and what he's doing this year is unbelievable, because he's not only fast, but he's calm. He can hold the pressure and work with the pressure really well. And yeah, being a French guy is helping a lot. MotoGP to have a big boost in France. And now Johan coming back, it was the first ever 1-2 in the top class for French riders. So yeah, they are writing history, these two guys, and we are very, very happy. But I'm more happy for MotoGP history, for MotoGP racing, than to be a nationalist carrying my French flag.
No, but we're happy too, though, Hervé, and we're not French. We're absolutely.
I can imagine, but also what happened last weekend, was unbelievable. To see a rookie winning his first race after 3 races, a brand that has never won a race, that has never been on a dry podium, being on the podium and on the top step, is also exciting. We wouldn't have imagined in our wildest dream. Huh?
It hasn't happened. I mean, that hasn't happened before. Yeah, Marc Marquez won in his second race or whatever, won as a rookie, but he was on a Repsol Honda, and he'd been, world champion in Moto2 and in 125s, and everyone expected something like that, expected him to be there. For Brad Binder, a South African rookie who, we did an interview with him on this podcast a few months ago during lockdown, and the objectives were, getting to the points, that sort of thing. If I start doing that and start doing it regularly, I'll start. And in the third race, it's not like we're at Portimao, a brand new circuit that we've never been to before. It's not like there's that many unknowns there. We're at Brno, one of the oldest tracks on the calendar that everybody knows, that everyone's aware of how to set a bike up. And him and KTM have come and done the business. It's mind-blowing, isn't it? It's absolutely bonkers.
I love it so much, because since I joined KTM knowing that we will have to work hard. We will, have to start almost from the bottom compared to where we were with our previous manufacturers. But I really like the energy. And I could hear so many specialists telling us, you will never win with a tubular steel, tubular chassis. you will never win with WP. You have to go with the yellow ones, etc., etc. And every time we were doing something not too bad, like a good lap time in qualifying, a good lap time in the test. Yeah, but this is a one lap trying too hard. Paul was quite often the fastest, and yeah, but Paul is only good to follow somebody and do a quick lap. But the overall package is still behind and will never be a winner until they follow what the others are doing. And I was so glad, I would have liked to have Brad with me, which was the plan before Zarco decided to leave. So, it makes me think and wonder, because I'm still chasing this MotoGP victory that I never had. And but I was thinking of all these guys, and I was so happy to see that Brad won that race on a really regular basis. There was no crashes in front. Okay, you can say Mark was not here, but outside of that, everybody was on the grid, relatively fit. Everybody pushed, and Brad, won the race, which is an incredible achievement, but without having to say, yeah, but. No, he won the race because he was the fastest, the best, and the bike was the best, because without Paul's slight mistake, I think it could have been a 1-2. And without Miguel FP3 crash, it could even have been a 1-2-3. So I'm dreaming now, but this is very refreshing to see that. And I would like to say something. I'm not paid to say that. But somebody like Stefan Pierre, who is the KTM owner, he had, sorry to say, the courage. I wanted to say the two wrong things. Exactly.
You
to
can
go
say
against
that.
this. But even Ducati, they had to bend when they were having their tubular chassis and to follow what the others do. And even Honda, when they were with Showa suspension, they had to bend in front of the riders' push to have the same suspension than everyone. And this man, Stefan Pierre, just said, I'm going to do there with my DNA. My DNA is orange steel tubular chassis, and I want to work with my own suspension, which are WP. And I want to tell him that we need brave people like this. We need people that don't follow everybody and that are not in the uniformity, because sometimes I read a little bit, and I shouldn't, what we call internaute, on internet, the comments.
Yeah.
And the people who say it was better before because we had more tires, more suspension, are the ones who say, why don't you have the same suspension and the same chassis and, the same everything than the others? So I think diversity is what makes the world beautiful. And in our world, if we can have a little bit of diversity already, we have one ECU, one tire, and we understand why. So the thing we can decide and have different, let's go.
Yeah. All big. And you know what? That diversity has actually helped Fabio come through, because it was the speed-up chassis that worked well in a particular way in Moto2 that was different to the Calyx and worked. And it's so good.
Coming back to Moto2, and again, there is no bitterness in that at all. Wildlife behind me.
I don't know. Is that your dog?
It's a wolf. It's a wolf. We're in the mountains in Austria. Anyway, when I was having my own bike, my Mistral, my Moto2 bike, I have had Marcel Schroeter, Xavier Vierge, Rémi Gardner, and a lot of others, and they were all telling me, and we have on Kayaba suspension at that time. We want a Calyx chassis with all-in suspension. But if you look at the result now, they're doing more or less the same. I'm sorry to say. So
worse.
The end of the day,
Worse, really.
No, but anyway, I don't want to comment.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
What I want to say is, a rider should have courage, balls, should believe, and this is what makes racing also exciting. Because if everybody wants the same, you have to understand that some guys are better than others, and sometimes some people think Ducati won because they were on a different set of tires. Would have been the same situation if they would be on the same run. So sometimes to have something different, even in some occasion it's a bit down, could be a bit better. So you have to think at the overall picture. And again, we go back to the diversity, and we need diversity to make it exciting, and also for your media. Otherwise, it's just a national cup.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just same old, isn't it?
Yes.
And
Yes.
Hervé, what's possible this weekend then? You're going basically to the home track,
Yeah.
KTM's home track, the home of that motorcycle. What is possible?
But I would like to say just one quick thing. I've been reading in the comment post Czech race that KTM won because they had a Michelin special tire done for KTM. Sorry, complete bullshit. The tires were decided before. Apart from Danny, nobody tested in Czech Republic, and we were scratching our head what to do and what to use in terms of tires. We tested the front soft, the front medium, the front hard, same thing. So again, this is not the reality.
No,
we never believe that though.
Now I read that all the MotoGP KTM riders have been testing in Spielberg. Only one day. It was 9-degree track temperature. It was just straight after the COVID lockdown. That was Paul together with Danny, and they did one day, and it was damp most of the time. But Miguel, Brad, Iker were not there.
But that's
and KTM has not tested so much more. We test much more in Sepang or in Jerez than KTM is testing in Austria. Sure, this is their home country. Last year we could see with Miguel, he did his best ever result of 2019, and the bike is working quite well. But outside of that, I can't say we have a huge advantage here.
Yeah, but people might say that about the tyres, but in theory they're supposed to work with an inline 4 engine. They're not. Do you know what I mean? The whole concept of people suggesting that these certain things are made for certain people, I'm
saying nothing because the day inline 4, the day inline 4 is winning 2 races in a row, everybody's stupid if you don't have an inline 4. And then the day the V4 is winning, and then what do you do with an inline 4? It's a production-based engine configuration. So, I think we should forget about listen to the specialists. Just have fun. Let the people have different ideas. Go out with different concepts and see what's the best without criticizing with the one behind.
Do you know how we can do it?
Enjoying the show.
I know what we can do. We could have a race. Let's have a race. Let's put them all on track together. And whoever finishes at the end of the day and at the end of the year is the winner. That's what I think we should do.
I think this is a good plan, Gavin. A good plan.
It will never catch on.
Hey, you must have been so pleased for Miguel at the weekend, though, as well. We know there was frustration from him with Brad coming in, so on and so forth.
Big frustration.
Yeah, a lot.
No, but I was happy. Sorry to interrupt, but
no,
I'm happy because Miguel was on course for a really good result, and we couldn't make it in Jerez for the reasons you know. I think we could have done very well there, but anyway, we will never know. No. We were also doing really well until FP3 last lap where Miguel crashed, where he was having a lap that would have put him inside Q2 direct. And that moment was the key moment of our Czech weekend. So I'm happy he finished 6th. I'm happy the lap time were similar than the one from Brad. But, when you see, I would honestly, I love Brad. He deserved that win. And I'm so happy he won. For him, for KTM, and chapeau, everything I can say. But I would have loved to be there also, because it would be an incredible story. It was a big bet for me to leave Yamaha, to go to KTM, and it would have been an incredible story. Still, it is still an incredible story.
Yeah.
But I would have liked, and at least I believe, with a bit better grid position, a podium was a possibility, and that would have been great. So yes, I'm happy with Miguel race because he doesn't do too many mistakes. He's fast, he's clever, he's growing. We could see that his race pace was good enough to be in front. But 6 is good. But when you are a fighter in the competition world, this is not exactly what you are targeting.
No, it's coming though, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's coming, and also the fact that Brad won will give Miguel even more motivation and confidence because he knows. Obviously, they were teammates whenever they normally go head to head. Miguel is normally the guy. So, and obviously Miguel knows that better than anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. But also for Miguel, I think and but I'm also thinking about Paul. That must have been difficult to swallow. And I think the Sunday night, it was certainly difficult to sleep for Paul, thinking of all what has been done, with that project and him watching the rookie winning the race. No, but at the end of the day, the guy who won deserves to win.
Yeah.
I'm really happy, really happy for Brad. But Gavin's question was, are you happy with your Czech performance with Miguel? Yes, but also a little bit no, and this is why.
Yeah.
He's a good lad though, isn't he, Miguel? Intelligent, as you say, like too intelligent to be a motorcycle racer, surely. When you have people
I tell you one thing, I have discovered a different Miguel this year, because I was a bit thinking like you last year. I was impressed by his maturity. I was impressed by his cleverness, by his calm, by his capacity to analyze everything. But I was always saying, sometimes to be a top rider, you need to be a bit mad, a bit wild, a bit crazy. But this year, I have seen another Miguel. I think the fact that now he has completely recovered his right shoulder, he's fully fit. The fact that he feels really good on the bike, which has improved tremendously from last year. He is ready for something great. And I wouldn't, delete him for some podiums before the end of the year. And as Neil said, they were always head-to-head with Brad. They are very similar in terms of riding level. They will be teammates next year. And everybody knows that the first guy you want to beat is your teammate. And it's going to be interesting. But I'm very impressed by the way Miguel 2020 has evolved compared to Miguel 2019. It's a big step. Yeah. And if I had a little bit of doubt in 19, I know now Miguel can be a world champion in MotoGP.
Yeah, that's exciting to hear, isn't it?
That's exciting for everybody.
Yeah. Obviously, as well, you've already. I've got to ask about. I know we're only 3 into this year, but we know what your lineup is for next year, and obviously Ika is going to stick on, and we've been impressed by Ika. Obviously, I don't think things have gone his way look-wise and confidence, and he's a young kid still. He really is a young kid. But you're also going to be welcoming in Petrucci, Danilo, who's another fantastic character. But it was interesting how it all got worked out and how everything, when the dust settled, because the dust is still in the air at Ducati at the moment. I mean, it's all still flying around.
A lot of dust.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think what might be happening there. But how interesting that you're going to have Danilo. How much are you looking forward to that? And then, obviously, I know you've still got 10 races left with your current riders, but.
It's Danilo is an incredible character that we all know. He's a lot of fun, a lot of an incredible sense of humor. Every time he goes to a press conference, everybody cries. He makes them laugh too much. And he's a normal guy. He's somebody very humble. He's somebody who everybody enjoyed to spend any minute with him and work with him. So this is clear. I remember that he won Mugello last year, and the last lap fight with Alex and Andrea was a great lap. And to beat these two guys is not easy, and not too many people did it. So I know that. When Paul decided to leave KTM, was a bit of a shock inside the company, I can tell you, because he's been so much involved in that project, and he's been the leader since day one, and they didn't expect. So it was a bit of a shock, as I said. And then, Pete's been thinking together with Mike Leitner and, what to do. My first recommendation was go for the youth. You know me. I'm always thinking, you prepare tomorrow with the young guys. So we had a lot of names, but the negotiation and the decision was done by Pete and Mike Leitner. And one day they told me we've signed Danilo, and I said, interesting, good. He's coming with Ducati experience. He will be, giving you a lot of good information, and he's a GP winner. And we have 3 young guys, so the experienced guys next to the 3 young guys is interesting. But in my head, it was to replace Paul in the factory team. That was it. And then Pete told me, no, you didn't understand. He's going to come to your team. And I said, but what does that mean? Miguel is going to go to the factory team. And then I started to understand. And okay, there are a few reasons to do that. I think the first one is KTM loved the Brad Binder, Miguel Oliveira combination. A few days before they signed Danilo Petrucci, they were here doing some promotion on some riding experience with Moto2 bike, both Miguel and Brad. And Pete and Mike had a dinner with them. And they told me when we saw these two guys laughing together, we could see that they are really a team, these two. You know, they've been in Moto3 together, in Moto2 together. And for Pete, it was like a revelation. Sometimes it happens. And this is what makes our world, and it's especially inside KTM, exciting, is nothing is planned like in some big world company where you know. So, and then for him, he said it was just obvious. Miguel had to be with Brad, and that's going to be the factory team for 21. And then you can take care of Danilo for this and this reason. We have this and this and this. And then I'm following, you know, I would have been happy to keep Miguel, and I'm happy to have Danilo. We will see what we can do together. I know Danilo trusts KTM a lot, believes a lot in KTM. We are every day, you know, talking to each other in the paddock to exchange our impression. He was very happy to see an orange KTM winning the race on last Sunday. So we will see. You know, I don't want to make any plans. I think if you start with a negative feeling, you will go nowhere.
Yeah.
This is what I'm telling to my guys all the time. So I'm proud to have Danilo. I'm proud to give the chance to Iker to show that he's going to be a strong MotoGP rider if he stops doing some silly mistakes. And we will see, you know, but it's every year is a challenge, and next year is going to be a tough challenge, or hopefully you will be next to me to support me.
Yeah, well, we will, of course we will. Definitely Danilo, well, we all enjoy him, and as you say, he's a great character, but let's not, as you said it, he won on a last lap battle with Marc Marquez and Andrea Dovizioso, who've been 1 and 2 in the world in the last 3 years, and he beat them in a last lap battle around Mugello, so it shows what he's capable of, definitely. I don't know about you, Neil, but I want to know about something about your past, Hervé, because you've mentioned already, it was such a wrench for you to move. I'm sure from Yamaha. How long was it? Was it nearly 30 years that you've been working with Yamaha?
No, Yamaha 20 consecutive seasons.
20, wasn't it? 20. And you won championship in 250s with them. One of the best 250 championships there ever was with Olivier and with Shinya. So out of all those years, though, what's the memory that you keep with you that you know that sticks with you and with you and your crew?
You know, I have had some incredible good years, and when I left Yamaha, I told them I had my best years with you. Now, you know, we start another adventure. So I enjoyed a lot what we did with Yamaha. It was a bit the same, you know, when I left Honda in 250. That was the main force in 250. Joining Yamaha that at that time left the 250 following the IRTA, you know, failure, I can say. Everybody told me, you are crazy. This bike is not capable to win. It's only racing in Japan, and you want to win the championship next year. And again, I was having the support, and I would like to thank them a lot from you know, our sponsor, which were Chesterfield and Mini Chesterfield. And they told me, we support you, we follow you, you're the boss, you know what to do. If you tell us this brand that we don't know is going to be good, let's go. So we switched there, and we find a very exciting environment. We met some really interesting people that were open to listen to you. And the 250 project was a really nice project, but a human size project. This is what I like. And then year one, we almost won the championship, and year two, we won the championship. To have won that championship was very important to me, because I knew if you wanted to have a team and live as a company of MotoGP racing, you need to be in the Premier class, which is the MotoGP class. And that helped me to move to, at that time, what was called the 500 class, thanks to the fact that we won the 250 together with my two riders. And to give you some good memories, I don't know, you know, I've had so many good memories, you know, and I would link my memories with my riders. For sure, Olivier and Chinia were incredibly great, and we share some so intense moments. I would like to say chapeau to how Chinia digests the fact that he was beaten for the championship at 14,000 seconds. He came to the party in the evening and he was smiling, and you can't see that from a lot of riders. I always remember also, the collaboration with Colin Edwards that you know very well, with Cal Crutchlow, with Andrea Dovizioso, and recently, the incredible story of Johan Zarco and Jonas Folger. All these years were really great, and I enjoyed every moment with them. But, at one stage, when you've been around and you know the place quite well, you start to enter in an habit, and then I'm getting old, this is a fact, but also this is due to getting older quickly, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
And I wanted a challenge, and I never worked with a European manufacturer. And what I was seeing from the outside, I said, oh, these guys amaze me, the KTM guys. And I met Pete, and instantly it was a love story, I think this is what I like in the life, You don't need to talk, you don't need to make plans, you don't need to arrive with a big book with all the details, calculate, talk, give pro or cons, or a negotiation. For me, you see it in the eyes. And I went to Mattighofen, I sat down with Pete, we had a coffee, and I can tell you, after 5 minutes, I knew I was going to go, and he told me the same. And this is how I like, to do things in life, very different than some other MotoGP, team manager, especially in the factory departments. But this is the way I am, I love people, I love feelings. I love to go where my heart is telling me to go. And I felt I wanted to be with these guys. And you can imagine now how happy I am, because honestly, it was not easy every day. We heard so many bullshit, as I said before. And there is no revenge, it's never nothing negative, but it's just a nice story.
Yeah.
Which I think is not finished yet. And also this company is taking a lot of risks, giving a ride to Brad, giving a ride to Miguel, giving a ride to Iker. They don't hesitate, and they don't think too much. And I think part of racing, you must be sometimes quite basic. For sure, you have a lot of technical, you have a lot of engineer, you have a lot of things that needs to be done by specialists, and you need to think twice and progress step by step on this department. But on some other things, you need to let your heart talk. And Neil, look at me in your car. What is the most important in life? I mean, in motorcycle racing, this is the man on the bike. Repsol Honda, Triple Crown, World Champion rider, Team World Champion, Constructor World Champion. Where were they in Czech Republic? What has changed? One guy is missing, and the whole thing is nowhere. And Ralph Wallman told me in Donington 99 or 2000, I think, in the press conference, in between being a hero or zero, there is a very fine line. He was lapped by Olivier Jacques, 4 laps to go. Started to rain, he was last. He was on rain tire. He catch that lap in 4 or 5 laps and won the race. And he said, if we wouldn't have rain, I would have been again like a fool. And now I'm the hero. And this is true. And, a thought for Ralph, but this is it, and we always have to be humble, keep our feet on the ground, and we are all having fun, enjoying doing motorcycle racing, but never forget the rider is the key element. If you look inside Yamaha now, the satellite team has never been beaten so far this year by any factory guys. So, this is it. This is it. So,
Do you know what, Hervé?
This is what I like. This is what I like in this work.
Yeah. Just listening to you explain it really clearly and simply like that, it's giving me goosebumps, because it's so true. The
I
love.
want to kiss you. I want to kiss you when you tell me this.
but it's so true. The passion of our sport, the words like using the words like humble, you've got to stay humble. But that's what you've always done. And that's why you're still in the paddock. That's why you're probably one of, if not the most respected characters in the paddock. That's always run this, what appears like a family team, but at the factory level. Honestly, it's superb. And that's why my dream now is for you to win a MotoGP race. I can't believe you've not. You've been so bloody close. But now, with what we've seen with KTM, you've got Miguel. It's a possibility this year, and that's not a crazy statement, is it? It really is. I know you won't want to jinx it by saying, "Oh yeah, I know we can do it," but it is possible. It really is.
No, thanks for your words, Neil. I really appreciate, and I have also the goosebumps like you. But yeah, this is possible. I wouldn't have told you that last year because I would look like a fool and I would have lied to you. Today, I think it's possible. We have still many more races to go. The KTM is a bike that can win other races on a regular basis. As you said very rightly, Miguel has seen that Brad did it, and it's going to give him a lot of motivation.
Yeah.
You know, I have a dream. You know, Miguel is winning his last MotoGP race of the 2010 season on his home ground in Portimao. That would be great, no?
That would be special.
And I would have a hug by our dear IRTA President.
Yeah, well, definitely. Mr. Viegas would be happy. Mr. Oliveira would be happy, and Monsieur Le Ponch would also be happy.
There'd be lots of tears, Gavin. Lots of tears. Hey, listen, we better let Hervé go, have we? Because I'm concerned that we're only going to have a half an hour chat with him. I'm just worried for Hervé's time. We know you're a busy man, Hervé.
Always a busy man.
No. It's a pleasure. You two fantastic guys, and again, I'm not polishing any shoes. You know me, but we miss you. We miss you, and hopefully we see each other soon, and we'll have a good beer together.
I hope so. Fingers crossed we'll be back on site, and be able to enjoy that and maybe celebrate that podium, that victory later on this year. Fingers crossed.
Victory.
Fingers crossed. Hervé, merci beaucoup. Have a great day and have a good weekend or a couple of weekends in Austria.
We will. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hervé.
We hope so. Cheers, Hervé. Merci.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
What is not to like it?
I mean, we don't even. The thing is with Hervé, right? This happens when we're on TV. You don't need to say anything. Like you can, and he's right. He's like the look in the eye. You can look Hervé in the eyes. He knows what you want to know. He knows that you're going to ask him about what's happened in the crash earlier, or he knows because he gets racing as well as anybody because he's just a part of fabric of the paddock, and he'll tell you the story, and he will, and he'll give it, and he'll be honest, and as you say, humble. And he'll tell you it. And I've just sat for 45 minutes, or however long we've been on with him, smiling because he makes me smile.
Me too. Unbelievable. Like just explaining, going, look, it's the rider makes a difference, but he's a team owner. If anyone should be saying, oh, it's all about the team. You know, you've got to have a great infrastructure, and if you have, you're giving a platform for a rider to really show their full potential. No. And the example is like Repsol Honda. One man, Marc Marquez, isn't there, and basically, well, they were last and second to last in qualifying, weren't they? You know what I mean? Like the team all of a sudden isn't rubbish. Oh, what a man! What a man he is.
Yeah, well, I'm
very
sure
entertaining.
People will have enjoyed listening to Hervé. I know I have. So we're hard, aren't we? We're tough nuts on things like that.
Yeah.
Then it's so good to hear. And it was a gamble, a big gamble, wasn't it? Switching Yamaha to KTM, as you said, 20 years of being with the Japanese factory and having success. Let's not forget the success over the years. He wasn't, he had podiums with the people that he had with him, whether it be Cal Crutchlow, Andrea Dovizioso, whether it be challenging for victories as they did once upon a time with Shinya and that kind of thing. They've had the successes. They've had Johann Zarco, pole positions, gave it away. And you could, after the first two races of this year have gone, I bet Hervé's a bit pissed off. The fact that, the satellite Yamaha team now is, winning couple of races and doing that. But you know what? They made a gamble, and it's worked out in another way. And it does. Yeah. It's the way things happen, isn't it? It's the way life works.
Exactly. I mean, he's the ultimate motorcycling ambassador. You won't get a better ambassador for our sport. If you think of the effort, the work he puts in, he's such a grafter. I don't know how old he is. I mean, he never ages. Does he really?
I think he's, how old are you?
I'm 46, so he must be.
I think he's 45.
Yeah. All right.
But, no, but he's been doing
the
this for a long
seasons
time.
he's done. Like, imagine, I went into that paddock in 1993 for the first time as a young teenager, and he was already there as an experienced team owner. You know, like, he's done so many years. Think of all the flights. Think of all the travel. Think of all the missed flights, last lap crashes, sponsors pulling out at the last minute. All the shit he's had to deal with. And he sits here talking to me and you like it's his first year involved in the sport with the enthusiasm just pouring out of him. I want to sponsor his team. You know what I mean? But that's what he's like. And that's what we know is that wasn't a show for me and you for the podcast. That's the man we speak to in the paddock.
Yeah.
You know, when we're there, that's the
it.
character.
That's it.
Yeah,
absolutely right. Nail on head. Right. Let's leave people because we've said we're going to try and do shorter versions in some way. I mean, just trying a little bit, but you can't stop listening to Hervé, can you? Just so people can get through the whole thing. People are listening to the whole thing, but there's some people who say, you know, I don't run for an hour and 20 minutes. No, not like me. Not like me.
I was only looking at the clock because I knew we'd said that we'd got half an hour with him. And I'm like, right,
no, completely. You're absolutely
it's
right.
47 minutes now. I don't want to, you know, it's like, because he would carry on talking, but I thought I don't want to abuse it so that, you know.
Is it because you're in the car park at Wetherspoons and you want to get in?
No. It is funny I've not got my wallet. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. It's because I've got my training shorts on. That's why, and I don't have my wallet anyway.
Whatever. When he starts using that excuse when he's in a restaurant, that's when you know.
Yeah.
When he starts wearing his training shorts to a restaurant, that's when I need to be worried on so many levels.
Hang on, just going back. I tell you, if Miguel Oliveira or Iker Lecuona wins a MotoGP race for Hervé, bloody hell, I reckon I'd shed a tear.
Oh yeah.
For him, you know, because whatever, how many 30-odd years of trying.
Yeah.
That's how hard it is to win a MotoGP race. You get a man like that who's still not had a MotoGP win. So
completely. Right, we better let people go and enjoy the racing. Whenever you listen to this, there'll be something coming up this weekend. But and whatever championship at the moment, it's going to be pretty special because they've all got lots going on. We'll speak to you very soon. Please please subscribe, please send us any comments that you have at Gavin Emmett on Twitter, at Neil Hodgson 100 on all sorts of places, on Twitter, I think, as well. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that the right address?
Yeah.
All right, and we'll speak to you all very soon.
All right, brilliant. Love you, Gav. Great podcast.
Yeah, well done. Cheers.
Yeah.